So Pete records his maths tests scores. Each score is out of 100. After 9 tests, his mean score is 59. After 10 tests, his mean score is 58.5. After 11 tests, his mean score is 60. Work out the difference between his scores on the 10th and 11th tests. Well, that's good because there's no way we could really work out any of his first 9 tests because all we know is their mean or their average. This is a type of average, the most common type of average. We just know their average is 59. So this is not the quickest way to do it, but just to make it really nice and clear, let's say we had test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4, test 5, test 6, test 7, test 8, and test 9. And when each one of these t values represents the score of test 1, the score of test 2, the score of test 3, and so on. Now, the total score there, well, first of all, the average is 59, which means the total would be, well, 59 times 9, because to work out the average is equal to the total divided by the amount there are, or let's do capital N, the amount there are. So then, in other words, the total score in this case would be equal to the average score multiplied by N. So we know that the total score is 59 multiplied by 9. So 531. And then it says, after 10 tests, his mean score is 58.5. So, okay, so if we go, so we can just imagine now, we'll just have to do this bit now in our heads. You can imagine that says T1 to T10. And the average score is going to be now, well, it's going to be 58.5, and that's going to be divided, that's going to be the average. So you would multiply it by 10 this time, and the total score would be 585, which means the 10th test added the difference, didn't it? So you can now work out what the score of the 10th test would be. You do the same thing with 11 tests. So you can imagine a similar sort of table going all the way down to T11. Each T value is a score, and now it's 60 is the average score. But of course, that was the average score. So we would multiply it by the 11 to work out the total amount. So 60 times 11 is 660. So in other words, it's gone up from 531 to 585, and then to 660 in terms of total values. So the extra score must be equal to T10. And that extra score there must be equal to T11. So what would we actually do to work out what is T10 and what is T11? Okay. So we've got the difference between the this number and this number would be equal to the test 11. So he got 75 in test 11. The difference between this number and this number would be test 10. So we got 54 in test 10. So then we just do the difference between these two, and that gives you 21 marks. So the difference between test 1 and test 11, test 10 and 11 is 21 marks. Now, there's definitely some shortcuts that some of you will be able to work out how to do there. You can see that you can sort of sense there was probably some shortcuts, but I'm not going to go into that in this video.